Hannah, they're already getting the track ready too. We've been out here for about 45 minutes already, and we've already seen some of the sweepers out on the track getting that race surface prepped, because those drivers are going to need a fresh surface ready to go when they hit those bricks in a few hours at over 220 miles an hour. Yep. Let's show you something already. Just within the past minute, maintenance crews have come through and they've applied fresh spray paint to these pit stalls. So we're beginning to see some of the first preparations of the day. You can see some of the pit crews are opening up their pit stalls. We've seen them beginning to cart some equipment out here. So it is definitely raceway. Yep. Pace cars have been fired up.
We have to watch where we're going because we're going to get hit. It's getting so busy out here.
And I noticed something a little while ago while we were out here in the pits. We're standing in Marcus Ericsson's pit right now. You notice they've already got the tires set out. Now you can tell back here these are the rear tires. Well, on the other side of the fuel tank here, if we can bring you around, you can see you got the front tires a little bit narrower. Well, this orientation makes sense because you're going to want those tires to be as close to the correct side of the car as possible when they come into the pits, because they're going to be coming into the pits pointed this way toward the exit onto turn 1. So we've been seeing the pit crews setting out the tires. They've been setting up the fuel lines. We, in our last segment, we got to get acquainted with one of the air wrenches they use. These things are not like the air compressor in your garage. In fact, Hannah picked one up a little while ago when she squeezed the trigger. The blast of air blew her hair all over the place.
Yeah,
so hey, Andrew, thanks a lot. And so we are here now with some of the guys who really make this stuff happen here in the pits. We're here with Chris Heide. He is part of the pit crew for Marcus Ericsson's car. So Chris, tell us a little bit about your role here.
Okay, so I do air jack for the team. My primary responsibility is also all of our pit lane setup, and then I do air jack over the wall as well too, which I've been doing for about 4 years now. So everything you see here, that all gets set up, and then also our box that we tape off, I'm responsible for all that as well too.
Yeah, and we saw you taping off the box, and we were looking at these markings earlier, wondering how they work. So tell us what exactly these markings are all about.
Yeah, so it's a coaching mechanism for us, and it's mostly to help out the driver. Now, he can't see it, but our race strategist is something that's, he can communicate that to him. Like, hey, when you come in the box, he has a reference point. So there's a red flag back there that we hold over, and that gives him a reference as to how close he is to stopping. Then we can communicate to him, hey, you're 2 inches too long, 2 inches too short, or whatever number he lands on. Ideally, the focus is you want to get him right on that center mark there. And so that helps us out because it's all based on timing. Him coming into controlled speed, us going over the wall in a controlled manner, being as efficient as possible, being as quick. If he can hit his, as we call it, hitting his marks, if he can be consistent with those, that helps us out get things done a lot quicker as well too. Being long is okay. Being short is bad because it's happened to me and I've run into the rear wing before and it's not pretty. Like it's not a lot of fun though, so.
Yeah, and is some of that dictated by the length of the air jack hose as well as the fuel line?
It can be. It has a lot to do with the size of your barricades here. So this is a pretty standard wall, but if you go to a place like Mid-Ohio, the wall's about that thick. Some places it's taller, shorter, longer. So we just have a set one for each track based on the size of that wall. Sometimes between what's behind and what's on the pit lane here is different heights. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's offset. So that's also something we take into consideration when we set all this up as well too.
Chris, you moved here in 2019 is when you first joined the team. Yep. I mean, what's it been like over the last few years getting to experience the month of May?
Oh, it's been crazy. So like, I've been a fan for a very long time, but my first Indy 500 was 2019. It's because I was working. Got hired part-time as a bus driver for Marco Andretti. Said that, hey, if you get your CDL, we'll hire you full-time. And so I did drive trucks for the last, 5-6 years now, and just kind of worked myself into this, honestly. It's kind of one of those things where I've been a fan of motorsports forever and a day, like as far back as I can remember. And to get the opportunity to do this is absolutely insane. Like my first 500, you come out here at 5 in the morning, and there's no one out here. And just as the day progresses, it's absolutely mesmerizing and breathtaking to see how many people fill this place up, and it's just insane. Like it's one of those things that every year it's just as cool as it was the last year. And so I thoroughly enjoy doing it and consider myself to be extremely lucky to have the opportunity to do this because it is that cool. It really is.
We are live now on the Yard of Bricks with the BorgWarner Trophy and the people who, quite frankly, are the keepers of the BorgWarner Trophy. BorgWarner President and CEO Joe Fadool and sculptor Will Behrens. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us. So, Joe, you're talking about how this is one of the longest partnerships, I believe, in the company's history. I mean, how does it feel to be back here once again to represent BorgWarner, but also get ready for the next phase to go on this trophy.
I have to tell you, we're just so proud to be just part of this great tradition that goes back to 1911. For us to be a part of today, especially, nearly 80 years that we've been presenting the trophy to the winner, and it represents all the faces of the winners from all the years past. So for us, it's just an overwhelming excitement.
And we should mention they're pulling the cars onto the grid here behind us, so that was a bit of the action that was going on right here as they're pulling one of the cars. But Will Behrens, you have been the sculptor of the BorgWarner for going on almost 37 years. Last year, you obviously had to, do a face again. Joseph Newgarden, what was that like to sculpt his face and then do it again?
Well, first of all, he's got a wonderful face, very strong, and so it's a joy to do him. But when a driver wins the second time, I don't even look at the first one. I just started from scratch as if it's a new face. I like to get a new approach on it. So.
Well, show me where he's at and what his response was.
These two here. He liked the last year's better than the year before, so I'm improving a little bit according to him, which is good.
What is it like to look at your work after all of these years to see it here on such a spectacular trophy?
Well, I'm so proud to have my work represented with so many faces on this trophy particularly. This is really the best trophy in sports, the BorgWarner trophy. And so I was aware of this trophy before I started this. So I'm really proud that I've been able to left my work on this trophy.
Well, you do amazing work. And Joe and Garrett, there's so much history with this trophy too.
Well, right before we came on, as I was saying to Joe, one of the things that really strikes me about the BorgWarner trophy is that, it's not just another trophy, it's a historical record. I mean, we have every single winner, their faces, their names, the years that they won, their average speeds. I mean, talk about what makes the BorgWarner trophy so special. Is its role as a historic record part of that?
Well, it sure is, and as you know, it honors all the winners going back to the beginning of the race. And as the race has grown in importance, so has our trophy. We continue to add winners. Eventually, we're going to have to add another base to represent the future winners next decade and beyond. So, for us, it's just a great way to honor those people over the legacy of time.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. You're almost at room here on this base. What do you think you're going to do for the next base? Think you might go to a beveled one like the Stanley Cup, something like that?
Yeah, well, we keep that under wraps, of course, but the last time we did add a base, as you can see, and so we're throwing around some ideas, and soon we'll decide, what that looks like. But yeah, we're excited because it just continues to grow the importance and roll, and we're just so proud to be part of it.
Are there any particular faces or years on here that are particularly meaningful for you?
Oh, such a great question. I mean, I grew up watching the Indy 500 as a young boy, and, Andretti family, Unser's, of course, a dynasty, Rick Mears, more lately, a lot of the Penske drivers. So there's just so many great drivers that I grew up with, and now I'm meeting a lot of the new ones, of course, that are coming on. You've got a rookie in the pole position, so yeah, just a great time to be here.
I'm also picking Alex Palou, and the reason is he's been consistent all season, he's been consistent all month, and consistency is key with this race. And Scott, we're going to send it up to you.